Hi, welcome to Coastal Art. Today we're in East Point, Florida with Tom Tiffin at Tiffin's Furniture and Art Gallery. We're going to be talking with Tom about his art and what inspires him. Well, Tom, can you tell us about your art and your gallery?
I certainly can, Melissa, and thank you so much for coming to see our gallery.
Oh, you're welcome.
And first of all, I'll talk a little bit about our furniture store.
Sure.
Tiffany, that runs it and owns it's fourth generation. We've been in the furniture business in our family, Tiffin Furniture, for 85 years. So we understand the furniture business. But now, in the last 20, 25 years, I specialize in art. And I've been an artist since I was a kid. I've been in print since I was 18. And it's basically what I do. I work in every medium. I do birds, and I sell prints worldwide. I sell about 50,000 prints a year working for various companies. So we're in the art business, and my whole family is. One of my daughters paints, my wife paints and is a sculptor, and Tiffany does photography. So we're in that business, and I'll be happy to show you some of it.
Sure, that would be great.
Okay.
And what in this area inspires your art?
It does. I've lived here for 35 years. I was one of the first residents in the plantation, and I love living there. I've been very fortunate to live there. And being around these birds, of course, when I was in Alabama, I painted turkeys and ducks and that sort of thing. Well, when I moved to St. George Island, I found that the money bird for me in the art business was blue herons, and I've probably done 1,000 of them. And even today, the blue herons remain my biggest selling image, and I paint a lot of them. And we'll show you some of those new images I've recently painted.
Awesome. Well, they are beautiful.
Thank you.
What are some of your more well-known images that sell well, Tom?
Well, in the 90s, I was painting, and my art was doing okay, and I've always sold prints wholesale. I've been fortunate enough all my life for catalog companies wholesale to sell my art, and that's primarily where I've made money in the art world. But in the mid-90s, I did a series of birds, and I used a different medium, and I used pastel and watercolor. And that's an unusual medium for birds. It gave them a different look. And one of the paintings is I Don't Know Her to You. It's two males ignoring a female, which is totally not the way it is. In my whole art history, I try to come up with these names that give the paintings interest. And that painting did 152,000 prints in 3 years.
That's amazing.
And it gave me some national prominence, and from that point forward, it got me in a lot of catalog houses, and it really boosted my art career. And I did 3 or 4 paintings in that series. I did some baby herons and that sort of thing. But that one painting has been just a great hit, and I still sell a lot of it. And we'll show you that painting.
Awesome.
Other paintings, I have some around. I do a lot of herons. This painting is one of my new graphite paintings. I'm selling a lot of prints. I'm the only artist in the world that uses graphite and watercolor. It's so difficult to do. This is a print that recently sold. And I have another one of the baby turtle that's at the Florida State Law School. And it's in the entrance, and I'm very happy it's up there. And I have over 100 images on permanent display at the Florida State Law School. They started putting my original paintings in there 15 years ago. And I'm the only artist represented there, so that's a great thing for me, it's a legacy for me.
Big honor.
Big honor. And I'm getting rather old, and my grandyoungins can go in there and visit all that. So that's nice. And I have a painting called Amazing Grace. She's been real good for me. I painted her about 10 years ago. And she's probably my second best. So, and then I have another one is I Can't See the Fish for Those Darn Flowers. And it's on permanent display in the clubhouse.
Oh.
And the painting I talked about, it sold 150,000 prints. The original's on display at the Dixie Theater in Apalachicola.
Oh.
They have about 8 or 10 of my old originals there.
Wow.
So if you get an opportunity to go in there, you can see some of my old work.
Oh, I'd like to see that. Well, we know you're great at painting birds, but can you tell us about some of your ships and other paintings that you like to do?
I can. I just like to paint just about anything for money. So I do charcoal sketches of boats. I do abstract paintings of boats. I do realistic boats. I paint old schooners like it came through Apalachicola in the 1850s. I've done oyster houses. I've done seagrass. So I do a lot of other images besides birds, but I'm probably best known for my birds and turtles.
Well, Tom, what art is really popular with people to put in their beach houses around here, like a casual beach house?
Well, you know, my birds do okay, but my daughter Lacey is nationally known for whimsical art. She's been featured in a lot of magazines like Southern Living and 4 or 5 others over the years. And her color is just unbelievable. And she recently painted a painting of St. George Island that we'll look at. But all her paintings are just great. It's vibrant, it's happy, it just makes you feel good. And then my daughter Tiffany and my wife Bee are artists. They do heavy body acrylics, which is real unusual. We'll look at those. And my wife is a sculptor. When we were kids, she did porcelain, so she's a really great artist.
That's amazing.
So she's doing it more now that she's getting old like me, but she enjoys working with the other kids with the art. So we all do a lot of art and really enjoy it.
Can you tell us about the painting on the cypress and the tables that you make and the gigantic log you have out in the front?
I'm thrilled you asked. The table business has become an important part of what we do because it's an important part of Apalachicola history. From 1852 to 1890, it was the industry here, and they cut all the big cypress logs and they're extinct. So they get them out of the river, and we take the centers out of them and make tables, and I even paint on some. Now, about the big log, recently Charles Golden, who has been in the logging business in East Point his whole life, and he's known for being able to get really good timber, called me a couple of weeks ago and said he had the finest log that's ever come out of the Apalachicola River. He found it last September 12 miles up the river with sonar, but it was 6 feet under the mud and just the tip was sticking up, so he couldn't retrieve the log. So he watched it, and a dredge came there last month, and he saw it was dredging around his log. So sure enough, they dove down and they dislodged it enough that they were able to pull it up and get it to a sawmill. Well, I saw it the next day, and when Mr. Golden said it's the best log that's ever come out of the river, I said, well, that's got some historical value, and it should never be cut. So I asked him, and he said, well, he might have to cut it. And I said, well, you don't need to do that. You need to sell us the log. And if you'll sell us the log, we'll put your name on it, and we'll preserve it forever. So we've done that. We're making a sign for Mr. Golden. His name is Charles, so the log's going to be Big Charles. So he's very happy about that. And the significance of the log, because it was buried under the mud, normally these big logs are fungal, so bugs won't eat it, but a fungus will eat it up. So this log was under the water and under the mud, so it's perfectly preserved, just like it was in the 1800s. So we're just thrilled to have it. We're thrilled to have it on display, and it's become quite a tourist thing, and it's really such an important part of history, and we'll never cut it. We're happy to have it.
Oh, that's great. You could preserve it like that.
It is.
Well, Tom, tell us where you're located and what are your hours?
We're located on Highway 98 right in East Point. You can't miss us. We got a 26,000 square foot store, and our hours are 9 to 5 through Friday and 10 to 4 on Saturday, and we're closing on Sunday.
Great. Well, thank you so much for letting us share your gallery with everyone, and I know they'll want to visit.
Well, thank you, Melissa. It's always a pleasure just to see
Thank
you.
Thanks for joining us today for this episode of Coastal Art. Make sure you check out my website at sgicoastalliving.com. We'll see you next time.